YouTube Hangouts, I guess, with my setup. I wanted to see exactly how this would work. I'm Pastor Pete of the Coudersport Free Methodist Church, and it's just a joy to be able to talk to you today. We're coming up on Epiphany tomorrow in the church calendar. It's the traditional time for the church to celebrate the baptism of Jesus by John the Baptist. It's also a time that many in different parts of the world of the church celebrate the birth of Jesus other than December 25th. And speaking of December 25th, there are many ideas of why we came up with December 25th to be the birthday of Jesus. One most common theory is that the church came up with December 25th in order to supplant pagan holidays like Saturnalia. And then actually there's no evidence for that. Commentator after commentator on the Bible seem to come up with that theory, but commentators are like an echo chamber. One says it and then the rest of them all say it, but there's absolutely no evidence for that. In fact, the date of December 25th was celebrated as the birthday of Jesus as far back as the 2nd century and became more established in the 4th century. And Augustine in the 4th century indicates that the reason for it being chosen was that in those days, the belief amongst people was that you would die, a person would die on the same date of their conception. Okay, and so Jesus, it was theorized, Jesus, of course, died on March 25th say about the year 30 of the 1st century. And 9 months later would have been December 25th. So thinking back that conception and date of death would be the same, it was believed that Mary received the message from the angel and conceived the Lord in her womb on March 25th, and therefore Jesus was born, according to that theory, on December 25th. No, it was not a supplanting of pagan holidays. In fact, most of the pagan holidays that take place on December 25th happen later in history, and there's a better argument for saying that those pagan holidays or those pagan celebrations adopted that date from Christianity rather than the other way around. So anyway, that is how we got the date December 25th. Now, certainly it wasn't the birthday of Jesus. We don't know when his birthday was. That was one of the theories that came out of the early church. It couldn't have been that day, probably because the shepherds would not have been out in their fields keeping watch over their flocks by night on December 25th. But it's really irrelevant. It's not an important thing. We celebrate the birth of Jesus. We're not celebrating anything else. And we did not adopt that. Christianity did not adopt that from paganism. Well, anyway, that's just some thoughts because I am testing out YouTube Live and YouTube Hangouts, actually, and wanted to just say something hopefully profound. Well, hey, this is Pastor Pete. You have a blessed one.